Hey, I'm AChickWitBeatz, multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit AChickWitBeatz.com for resources for artists and instrumentals in various genres available for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's AChickWitBeatz.com. That's AChickWitBeatz.com. Let's make something happen. Thank you for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I am your host, music producer AChickWitBeatz, and I'm incredibly excited to announce that I have in the virtual building with me the one, the only Shaun Don, who just happens to be my brother. But he's a very, very talented creative, venturing into so many different things, including music, graphic design, and all that good stuff. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Shaun Don. And if you could, please tell them a little bit about who you are and how you got into music.
Thank you very much for that introduction, little sister. All right. Well, I go by Shaun Don. I'm a graphic artist. I make beats. I have a love for hip hop that's phenomenal. I have a clothing line. It's called Soft White, and also another one called Trench Baby. So just 24 hours a day, I'm running. I barely get sleep. Always hustling. And one of the slogans for the clothing line is all hustle, no sleep. And GFM, God, Family, Money. That's what it's all about.
Right, that's what's up. So if you could, how you mentioned that you make beats, because I do want to kind of back up and let everybody know that you introduced me to a lot of hip hop that I didn't really know about. But I remember being young and hearing like one of those first beats and stuff that you made, and I was like, wow, that's my brother, he did that. So if you could kind of talk a little bit about how you got into that and like what's your process for creating.
How I got into that was I had started rapping. I can't even remember the year, but I want to say it's 20 years ago. You can say at least 20 years ago. And I was going to the studio spending, I think the guy was charging me, he charged me like $100 for a beat. Then he was charging me $25 an hour for studio time. So, that was cool. So I was going out there probably every weekend, sometimes 2 times a week, going out to record new material. And every beat that he made for me was a beat that I told him in my head how I wanted it to sound. So after a while, I thought about it and I was like, man, you know what? I could probably do this myself. I don't need anybody to, all the money that I'm spending on these beats, I could do it myself. So one day, went to a pawn shop and I bought me a Korg Triton. And I think I paid probably about $1,100 for it. And that was a good price because that's like a $3,000 keyboard. So I bought that. Then I bought an MPC 2000 XL. Oh man, that thing right there, that is a wonderful tool. So I got that and I just had it. I made me a studio in the house. Didn't know how to play the keyboard. Did not know how to use the MPC. So I had a guy coming down from Mississippi. He was coming up, and all he liked to do was smoke weed. So he was just like, look, you keep the weed coming and you tell me what you want, we're gonna put it together. I was like, cool. So all I'm doing, I'm just rolling blunts, passing it to him, and we making beats and and I'm writing. So and the other guys was like, you know how to work this? I'm like, nah, I got people coming up to do it. And he was like, man, that's wild. I'm like, yeah, that's what I got going. So all of a sudden I started just messing with the keys a little bit and messing with the MPC and looking up info on it. And I learned how to play both of them. I mean, I'm not a pianist, but I know how to find that sound that I want in that keyboard to get what I want. And that's how it started.
Yeah, okay, that's what's up. I think nowadays it seems like not a lot of people are kind of willing to do the hands-on thing. But as kinetic learners, and like it's just easier to kind of be pressing the stuff yourself and whatnot. But it's okay. Yeah, you had been rapping a long time because I remember being in middle school when you visit, and so what I want to say, it was probably like around the time Farside was really popping or whatever. But I remember you had brought up something for us to listen to. So yeah, you've been at it for a while.
Yep. I still write a little bit every now and then. Matter of fact, my little brother, he goes by Dirty Mike, and he's on another level. He's not. He doesn't rap that Southern flow. He has that more like a Childish Gambino, type J. Cole type style. And so he did a song called Escape. I'll send it to you later on. And he asked me to put a verse on there, and I put a verse on it. That was just last week. But yeah, so back then when what I was putting on at the time, just what I was believing in, that was that GFM, that God, Family, and Money, Inner City Blues, Wrong or Right, just about my life and what I was going through at the time.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, how would you say, so you've lived in a few different cities and all the cities got different styles or whatever. How would you say that that's kind of shaped the music that you've made over the years?
I had shaped it wonderfully. I could say at first, being down south in Memphis, Tennessee, they're more on the southern tip than, you got a few people that expand and listen to a Nas or a Jay-Z, but it's mostly strictly down south. So I kind of had, my flow was mixed with both. It was mixed with the south and north, so people had to get used to it, but once they listened to the lyrics, then they got with it, because it is a cultural difference.
Yeah, and even the sound, nowadays things seem to kind of be blending a little bit more, yeah. But yeah, like it was very distinctive difference at first, but the internet. Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned earlier about your graphic design and clothing lines. You want to talk a little bit more about those and kind of the inspiration behind them?
I always like design. I can't draw a lick, but I mess with that computer, and I got Photoshop and other programs, and just learn how to do what I need to do to create what I want. That's just a blessing, a gift that God gave me, and He gave it to you as well. All our siblings, we're very creative, and so with that, that's right. That I agree. And so, what started with the Trench Baby clothing line was that, your nephew and my son had get killed, and that messed up the whole family, and we all got together, and I think that actually brought us closer when it did happen. And before he passed, he was bringing an idea to me. He was constantly calling me like, "Dad, what you think about this name?" I was like, "Oh no, I don't like that." And he just constantly calling me like, "Oh, I don't like that." So then he was like, "Hey, came up with Trench Baby." I was like, "I like that." I said, "I like that." And then he told me a little design that he had, and he gave it to me. So when he sent it to me, like we doing our daily things that we do, and I sent it to a guy that's an artist in Houston. He was in Memphis, now in Houston doing tattoos, and he's doing wonderful. And he drew it up. So I didn't get the drawing back until Quan passed. GFM maintained, rest in peace. So when he passed, I was going through my phone and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh man, this is what he wanted, for his boys." So I was like, "All right, this is what I'm gonna do for Kason and Khalil. I'm gonna start that Trench Baby clothing line for him." So that's how it started. Just started putting that pressure on. Created probably about 3 different logos for it. Started doing shirts. Started reaching out to manufacturers, doing it, and that popped off. And then I came with another clothing line, Soft White. And Soft White is it has to do with that being my favorite color. It's white, but it's softer, and then it blends in with the streets as well. Mm-hmm. And that's just how I came up with those.
Okay, that's what's up. Just the creativity behind it, and the fact that you put the drive and the effort to getting it off the ground and making it what it is now. And I know that it's just going to continue growing. I'm sure people that follow me on social media have seen me share some of it, so make sure that you get with him for your graphic design needs. Man, some shirts and stuff be crazy. You are so talented.
I appreciate it. And we do custom shirts too. It doesn't have to be out the clothing line. You know, if they got something custom they want it, you know, the website is under construction right now, but on Instagram, you can reach out. On Instagram, it's Trench Baby Soft White. And on Facebook is GFM Trench Baby Apparel. And TikTok is at Soft White Label.
All right, make sure y'all get that for real. So yeah, we talked a little bit about music from back in the day, but maybe to get more into it, who would you influences might have been?
Man, I have 20 now.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, from me moving from Michigan to Atlanta, Georgia, to Memphis, Tennessee, I have to say the South has put so much on me, and that just some of the lyricism and the things that I was going through, because music is a way of life. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to be sad and depressed, it's music out there for you to listen to. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be happy, it's music out there, you know, to be happy. It's, you know, whatever it is that you need. So I'll say this. I have, from the South, and this is not in order, but I would say Scarface, Outkast, Ghetto Boys, T.I., Lil Wayne, Jeezy, 3 6 Mafia, UGK, Good and Mob, and then like the whole Master P movement. Just that whole movement is real big, and that was a big impact on down south. And also, what Master P created was these graphics for CD covers. People weren't coming out with the CD covers that Master P was coming out with, so that put me in the idea of coming up with fancy, you know, CD covers and designs and things like that as well. The other list, it kind of goes East Coast and a little bit on the West Coast. So I would say Love, Beanie Siegel, Jay-Z, Nas. I like Dayton Family. You like Dayton Family?
Yeah.
I like Dayton Family. Notorious B. Classic. NWA, Tupac, Dre, Ice Cube, my favorite, DMX.
Man, that is quite the list. Like, all of them have done something that's been impactful. So not just music that you can vibe to, but like stuff that sticks around, like that evergreen concrete stuff.
Yeah, it'll never go away.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times coming up in the time frame where we had what they call the golden age of hip hop, sometimes people don't really, I don't know, I guess vibe to some of the newer stuff that's out, even though there's a lot to choose from. Most of those people just don't really look and dig. But who are some of the kind of rock with current time? And I guess, how would you say maybe the industry has kind of changed over the years as far as music goes? I know that's a loaded question. You can take it one at a time.
It's changed a lot, and really, if you look at it, everyone is adapting to down south beats. Just the way the down south sound, everyone has the down south sound now, and with Metro booming, and just it's plenty of other guys too. It's some other guys that do paper route, but it's just so many that's talented. I like J. Cole. I like Kendrick Lamar. I like what's it, Young Boy? I like Young Boy. Yeah. It's a couple of other guys I listen to. It's just some of it. I ain't too crazy about drill music, but I do like some of the beats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of what's like going on right now. Everybody doing drill music. Oh, and I like what's that guy name? He's from Florida. The kind of heavyset guy, got a song called The Biggest. I don't know if you... D-Lo, Boss Man D-Lo. You heard him?
No, I haven't.
Listen to him. He's funny. He's
See funny, what I mean? You be educating me on stuff. Yeah,
Boss Man D-Lo. Listen to Boss Man D-Lo. And then in Memphis, we got a guy called YTB Fat. YTB Fat, F-A-T-T. He's out of Memphis. He's tight. Of course, you know, Moneybagg Yo and Yo Gotti, you know, all them. They're out of Memphis. Everyone that I just named from Memphis. So, and of course, rest in peace, Young Dolph. That's one of my favorites as well.
Okay. Yeah. So, with that being said, there's been a transition and people are adapting to down south beats. I feel like part of that is just because it's so huge. So, but like, I kind of miss some of that blend that you would get when Southern rappers collaborated with East Coast or whatever, because you kind of got a mix of both. But yeah, you introduced me to 3-6 Mafia. You introduced me to Master P and that whole movement as that was popping. So yeah, what do you do to kind of discover stuff? Because I noticed like you were really up on stuff before it got like popping in mainstream. So how do you manage to be able to stay up with stuff like that?
Genetics, you know what I'm saying? Thanks to our father, you know what I'm saying? It's genetics. It's crazy. Just how music plays a big part on everyone's life, and because you can actually hear a song that you hadn't heard since you were about 3, 4, 5 years old, never heard it, since then, and it come on the radio or something, and you actually know the lyrics or you don't know what it is, and it's because, and it'll give you the place and time where you were. I love music. It does me like this. So it could be like if I hear a certain song by T.I., I could be like, oh yeah, I stayed over there on South Street over there in South Memphis when that came out. You know what I'm saying? I love that. And so I always play older music. Like right now, like you said, it's some artists that I don't listen to. So like right now, I'm bumping old music. So I'm bumping AT Aliens, Old Ghetto Boys, the Carter 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm UGK, Pocket Full of Stones. I'm playing stuff like that right now, and I'm blasting it when I'm riding in the car because it just brings good memories and it's good music.
Yeah, it's not directly related, but I've admitted on here multiple times that it's basically like the 80s and 90s in my car when I'm riding. Sometimes I do listen to newer stuff, but for the most part, I'm listening to like Black Moon, Redman, and like you said, it's almost like, it just instantly transports you back. But one thing that I've noticed, like now that I'm older, going back to visit some songs that I liked on the surface when I was little, but I might have been too young to fully understand or appreciate everything, like rhyme schemes or how, even Rakim, for that example. Like I knew back then he was dope, but like listening now with the knowledge that I have and the experience, like he really changed stuff in the way that people were doing things. So I think that's one of the other benefits of going back to listen to the old stuff, because you can have a different appreciation for it. Because at 6 years old, what do I know about rhyme schemes? I'm just like, okay, this sound dope. But later going back to revisit, I'm like, man, this is even better than I realized back then. But the old school stuff, ain't nothing like it.
Yeah, ain't nothing like it. And like you said, also, of course, I left out a lot of other people, but I love Wu-Tang. Method Man, that's just one of my favorites out of the group. I like all of them, but Method Man, I really like.
He's my favorite too.
Like you said, Redman, oh man, so lyrical. Just so lyrical. And Tribe Called Quest, music that soothes the soul, and a lot of people just didn't catch on to it. Well, down south, up north they knew about it in East Coast and West Coast, but like down south, like if I play stuff like that, they like, even people my age, they be like, what? What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of jazz, which I found later that, I really enjoy. I didn't realize until I started making beats, I guess more often. I want to say like maybe around like 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. But like right around that time is when I started listening to more of my stuff in the car. At first, it was just to kind of do like the audio check to see what needed to be tweaked. But then I found like even later, so I'm just riding, listening to beats, and I was like, man, this is kind of like my generation's version of jazz now. But like it was so vital to hip hop culture, and so like even not just jazz, but like 70s soul and all the other stuff that gets sampled. Sometimes you don't even realize the beauty behind it until you go to like, repurpose it or do what you want to do. With that being said, with your love for the old school, when you choose samples, how do you decide what you're gonna pick?
It could be something like, coming up, I loved as I listen to stuff now, it's just, man, you can just say like I hear some Pandora, I'm on Pandora or something, and I hear an old school song, something from the 80s or the 70s, and I listen to it, and actually sometimes I get a sample of something that just pop in my head, and then I'll find it and create that sample like that. But sometimes I just listen to something old and my mind is always open, so I could be riding in here, man, it could be Prince, Alexander O'Neal, whomever, and I just catch a little part of something and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna sample that. And and then I'll get that song and I'll put it in that MPC and I twerk and try to get what I want out of it, and man, turn it into something nice. I'm actually thinking about getting back into beats more than I used to.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And especially with your talent and skill at it, I support that wholeheartedly. I hope you do, because I'd love to hear some more. But so yeah, with that being said, we also talked. So you had mentioned that our dad, we got genetics. We're kind of inclined to music naturally. And one of the things I remember, and I actually made a song about this at one point, might have been about 10 years ago or so by now. Donald Byrd. So I remember sometimes, when we had that Mark V, we riding around playing music. I remember it was Think Twice. So, I'm like, okay, Dad's listening to jazz, fine. But then I remember when that beat change kicked in, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what is this? This is beautiful. Something about that sound. And it was the same one Tribe sampled for Footprints, the same one that Lisa and Cult Jam used for Let the Beat Hit 'Em. And who else? Main Source Looking at the Front Door. So it's like once I started hearing those songs, it kind of gave me those flashbacks. Like, I remember being in the car, like hearing this. And so, even listening to those songs, like it automatically gave me those good feelings of being little, no stress, no worries, no bills.
I'm not going to say no bills. No bills.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Music is, like you said, very therapeutic. It's a wonderful thing. And like you said, bring back memory. That's why also one of my favorite movies is The Wood. Because it shows the childhood, and if people paid attention to it, the music that they played, it took you back to like, okay, I was doing at the time, because when they were the older them, they would go back, and every time they went back, they played a song. And so it set you back and be like, oh man, I remember that. I was doing this at that time, or so it's cool.
Definitely. And since you mentioned movies, like soundtracks used to be such an incredible thing. And I don't think they really do them the same way that they used to. But
not like they used to.
Right. Like back in the day, that was a great way to get a variety. Like if you didn't want to, just so, teenager, I ain't really have a whole lot of money. Like my whole check might have been $30. And so to spend like more than half of it on a CD or tape, like it had to be good. And that was one way I could make sure that I had the variety. But you actually took me to get the I'm About It soundtrack. And that was actually the first CD that I had owned, like from that camp back then. But
I forgot all about that. And look, but when you mentioned it, I know exactly where I was thinking. I was thinking the bad neighborhood in North Memphis on 7th Street. That created, and Master P did that movie. You know what I'm saying, about that soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like I said, he did a lot for music, and he had like the best deal nobody ever had. He had the deal to where with Priority, he got 85%, and Priority only got 15%.
Yeah, that's practically unheard of. Very few people can get deals like that.
Yes, a lot of people don't know that, but that's what happened, and you probably won't see that again.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite sure they realized, man, he got us.
Yeah, because I mean, distribution typically is the hard part, and to just give up 15% for that, like that's nothing. But that's another reason why it's so important to kind of study the people that came, ahead of you as an artist, because I think that's why a lot of people are getting stuck in these bad deals now. without doing the research to find out that the stuff could be available one way or another. And especially like even the 360 deals, like
terrible.
I mean, yeah.
Terrible.
And treating artists like slaves.
Yeah, you saying like 4 people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look on there, like when you look and see the label, you seeing like 4 different names. You're like, what?
Right.
Like, where did you get your money from? Yeah, it's terrible. Then they make you, you know, you might have to do a song with someone you don't want to do a song with.
Right.
You sign to them, they like, hey, you got to do that song because that song will get us some money. So,
yeah.
That's like Kendrick and Drake. You know, they beef. Remember that was something that was said. I think they were talking about the Maroon 5 song that Kendrick did. Like he really didn't want to do it, but hey, you know, they made you do it. Top off, do it. You know, so.
Yeah, you have no choice like with those types of deals, and people are so eager to get the money up front. A lot of times I think they don't even do their due diligence, like, oh, you gonna give me $2 million? Great. Not realizing it's just a loan, and now they own everything you do. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta pay that $2 million back.
Right. and a lot of times they're even wrapping up the NIL deals, the name, image, and likeness right into it, so they can't even do anything. Like their hands are completely tied. And I feel like, yeah, we hearing these stories way too often.
Screwing them on
just look back. Yeah.
Screwing them on their publishing. You gotta have your publishing. Got to. That's the only way you're gonna get money. And now you see people just now getting their publishing from the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, Mary J. Blige, you know, the Locks, few other people. You know, it's crucial. Can't make, you know.
Yeah. Especially those people you just named. I mentioned on the other radio show that I used to do. Mm-hmm. I knew that was a goodwill thing. I didn't know how bad things were going to be, but I was like, he getting ahead of something. I didn't know it was going to be that bad, though. I never would have predicted that, but I knew he wasn't the type of person to be generous and be like, oh, I'm gonna do the right thing all of a sudden after all these years. So now, yeah, makes sense. He up to something. I don't know what, but I don't trust it. Yeah.
Nah, it's terrible. People want the fame. You know, it look good to them, and you just don't know what they going through while they out there. Because I mean, it's a lot of people going through some terrible things, and they have to smile in front of their TV, and then later on, 10, 15, 20 years later, you hear the bad side. Be like, wow.
Right. And it can all be, kind of avoided to a certain extent just by doing your research, checking out some normal deals and what's actually supposed to be standard as opposed to what they're trying to sell people today. But yeah, it's insane. Business. What was that?
It's a business, just like, what's my boy? Jason Weaver. Love Jason Weaver.
Yeah.
With the Disney deal, they were going to pay him $1 million to do the movie. His mother said, nah, we don't want the $1 million. And so she got proceeds from the movie and he got $100,000 cash to do the movie. So he's getting paid the rest of his life. He doesn't even really have to do anything else. He getting paid off Lion King the rest of his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
that was incredible. People weren't doing stuff like that back then.
No.
You put the money on the table, they were signing it.
Right. Macaulay Culkin don't have a part in Home Alone.
Wow.
He ain't getting no money from, Home Alone besides what he had, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't
just
know
think
that.
He did. Yeah, just think he did. Yeah.
Man, that is crazy. But yeah. So yeah, we've seen all these stories. They can put out all these biopics, but without people actually gathering the information, then yeah, we just keep seeing the same process repeated over and over again, which is part of the reason why, we'll do the podcast, for the information so people know like how the industry works and what's actually going on. But a lot of times it's just kind of pushed to the side. But you mentioned something earlier about seeing how many people that the artists are signed to, and it made me think about the writers that are involved in most of the mainstream stuff.
Right.
Like, and how long those lists are getting now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Yeah, like it can be a song that repeats the same line like so many times, and it'll be like 15 different writers. And I don't mean just like the sampled artists, because of course they get writers credit. Yeah, but like outside of that, it's like, man, like you really needed 5 people to help you with with that.
Hey, yeah, if you don't have the talent, because like I said, that is a gift. Just that, and there's certain people that just have it just off the top. Like I'm like her. I love her. Very talented, and those artists like that know how to play everything. They writing everything, and that's what even Jermaine Dupri. Like that dude is awesome. Jermaine Dupri, a lot of people don't know it. He wrote they know of the groups that he's produced, but he wrote a lot of songs for him too.
Yeah.
Escape, Mariah Carey, Usher, just those names right there. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
So that writing is good. And if you can't write, then it's a terrible thing. And they saying Drake ain't writing his stuff.
Yeah, ever since that whole Quentin Miller thing happened, I just assumed everything else was written for him. So I don't know why people just assumed it was like a one and done. But
right,
like, if you do it quietly like that, there ain't no telling how many others we don't even know about.
Exactly.
So yeah, like if somebody listed him as their favorite rapper, that used to kind of irk me a little bit because I mean, he is a music artist, so I'm not going to discredit that. But I mean, are you really a rapper if somebody else putting words in your mouth? Because it's not like you singing it. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense when singers have people to write their songs because they've got the voice. So, I mean, with rap, you need the poetry element of it in order to be considered an actual artist, I think. But, it's probably a lot of people that disagree, and I might get some comments after this, but I said what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the music, music is supposed to come from the heart.
Yeah.
So like if I don't know, it's kind of like you said, you might get, somebody might say something to us about us saying it, but sometimes I can't understand a little bit if I guess in a song, you could tell them, you can pour your heart out to them, and then that person write it for you. But it just seems like it's more passion when it's from you.
Yeah. That is true. Because it almost just, you can connect with it a little bit more because it feels authentic. And when it's not your words, then that makes it not so authentic. But I've had that complaint for years. Nobody listened. I got called a hater until now. So that was part I was so excited about the beef. I'm like, now everybody's saying what I've been saying, and used to you hating. Like, no, it's just a fact. I mean, you can like who you like. Everybody doesn't have to like your favorite artist. That doesn't mean anything about you, even though they take it as a personal attack. But
it's a passion thing. As I just thought about it, I had got into it. Like I had got to where, like Lil Wayne wasn't writing anything. So I had got to where I still wrote, but what I was doing was I had a 9-to-5. I was driving a forklift for a paper company, and I would think of lyrics. So what I would do is just keep running them back in my head. Just keep running back in my head till break time. So like when I go to break, I'm like writing 16 bars, which you don't hear anymore. Now it's 12 bars, 2 verses, 4-bar hook. You know what I'm saying? 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, a song was at least 4.5 minutes, at least 3.5 minutes. But for sure, it was like we was giving you 3 16s, and 3 16s, man, that's a lot to write 3 16 bars, verses, and to have a nice song. But that's what you had to do back then, and so now, they changed it where you don't, have to do that. But so I got to where I was remembering my stuff. So, and even if I did write some of it down, as I wrote it down, I would remember it. So I had guys that wanted me to get on songs. So just say, had a guy, he called me, his name was Hurt. He called me, he's like, hey, I got this song. I want you to be come to the studio tomorrow, 4:00. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. Send me the song. He sent me the song. He like, do the hook too. I need you to do a hook too. I'm like, okay, do the hook, do my verse, get to the studio, me, him, and another cat that he knew. So we get in the booth. I'm in the booth. He said, where your paper at? Where you know? I ain't got no papers all right here. He said, man, how you do that? I just called you 11 o'clock last night. It's 4 o'clock. I said, hey, it's just how it's going now, man. I said, it's just a passion. When it's a passion, it's coming like that. It's like you won't have to do certain things. You won't have to, if you anything, you jotting down notes. That's it. Other than that, man, you going in there and you deliver.
Right. That's what's up. Yeah. Now, my memory doesn't work that way, but yeah. You got a point. Yeah, when I had first started, actually, I wouldn't even call myself a rapper when I started because I felt like I was just a poet doing stuff over beats, and that was kind of how it was. I tried to make sure that it was a little more fluid, so that way it didn't feel like I was, hitting every line, exactly with each bar. But then, as I got a little more comfortable with it, so what I would do would be I'd write it, I'd record it, and then I'd like ride around listening to the recording until I memorized it. So yeah, it took me a while to be able to do that. Yeah, but even so,
awesome, by the way, too.
What was that?
I say your music is awesome, by the way, too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, your singing, your rap vocals, your beats is phenomenal. Nothing sounds like it. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that because I am so self-conscious, especially about my singing voice. So
when you send me that song, can't think of that. I don't know who that guy.
Oh yeah. Try Diggy.
That. When you sent me that, I was like, hold on. You did that. It sounds so good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No, most definitely.
So yeah, I see our time is winding down, counter's going. So before we, close this out, I want to make sure that everybody knows all your socials to follow you on and how they can stay in touch with what you got coming up and make sure that they can support everything you're doing.
Okay. On Facebook, my personal page, it's GFM Shaun Don. GFM Shaun Don. And for the clothing lines, that's going to be Instagram, which is Trench Baby Soft White. And for Facebook, for the clothing line is GFM Trench Baby Apparel. And for TikTok is @Soft White Label. So yeah, they can reach me on anything, anything on either one of those, and I'll respond back quickly.
All right. Is there any final thoughts or anything that you want to leave the listeners with, or any shout outs you want to give? You can do it now.
Man, give shout outs to our Father.
Yes.
You for doing what you doing is wonderful. You keep doing it. It's a blessing. And to our sister Bree, our cousin Destiny, I'll see him next week because I'm going to the Javante Davis fight in Vegas. So I'll see him then. I think Bree gonna try to come up on Saturday and see us. So shouts out to your mother. Tell her I said hello.
I will.
And we're gonna have to get that other podcast going about the sibling rivalry. About the movies. We're gonna have to get that started. Everything starts from you have to either write it down to keep it alive, and that's why I did that little video that I sent y'all with the popcorn and the pictures. That's the start of it. And we're gonna have to do it because I think it'd be wonderful because we always calling each other about TV shows and movies, and oh man, so I mean we might as well do it. Sibling rivalry coming soon.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to have you back again. This is just part 1.
All right. I love you.
I love you too. All right. That does it for this week's edition of Instrumental Intel. I've been your host, music producer AChickWitBeatz, and I hope you found this episode both entertaining and educational. Once again, I'd like to thank my home station, Grander Radio, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Join me next week. Special guest Danger Mental will be dropping in for a chat from pause tapes to present day, and it'll be a great time. So until next time, tune in, tell a friend, and I'll see you then. Peace.